Here we are in leafy Finchley and Golders Green, which has Britain's highest proportion of Jewish voters at just over 21%. It's a key test of whether Keir Starmer has succeeded in his project of what he calls detoxifying the Labour brand after the many controversies about anti-Semitism under Jeremy Corbyn. It's a very tight race after Labour was pushed into a humiliating third place last time around. It's now a very tight race between Labour and the Tories, between the Labour candidate Sarah Sackman and Alex Dean for the Conservatives.
The situation feels entirely different. The mood this time round in 2024 is for change. I think after 14 years of a Conservative government, people have had enough of mismanagement and division at the top. They're wanting to change and they're looking to the Labour Party to provide that alternative. The big difference from 2019 to 2024 is that the Labour Party is unrecognisable. The Labour Party needed to change. It needed to root out anti-Semitism, root and branch, and under Keir Starmer's leadership, that's what's happened. And it's with that change that Labour now has the opportunity to put itself as that viable alternative to the Conservatives. And what we're seeing at this election is that more and more people, both within the Jewish community and right across Finchley and Golders Green's diverse communities, are willing and ready to put their trust in Labour. Look, I'm a really proud North Londoner. I was born and grew up in this constituency. I'm a proud member of the Jewish community. It was the community that raised me. But I also grew up amongst friends from the Cypriot community, Japanese community, Kosovan, Romanian, and from all parts of the world. This is a place that people choose to make their home. And with that in mind, what we're hearing on the doorstep is that there are issues like the housing crisis, the fact that people can't afford to buy or rent in this area, the lack of availability of a GP appointment, people waiting to get their children assessed for special educational needs, mental health challenges right across the community. These issues, whether it's cost of living or our crumbling public services, cut right across that diversity. And it's those issues that voters are asking for us to address at this election.
It doesn't tally with what I'm seeing to say that Labour is now free of the issues that came with Jeremy Corbyn's leadership. I want to give credit where credit is due. Keir Starmer has improved the Labour Party's position vastly on this issue, and that is recognised in the people who I speak to in this community. He's been deselecting some candidates like Faisal Shaheen in Chingford and Woodford Green at considerable political cost to himself and to his party, and I respect that because I think it was the right thing for them to have done. But if you consider the campaign that we've had since the election was called, it is like the Labour Party is telling people in this constituency week after week that they don't care about their issues. On one week, they told people here that Jeremy Corbyn would have been a better Prime Minister than Boris Johnson. Keir Starmer said that. Bear in mind, Jeremy Corbyn, who said Hamas are his friends, Hamas who raped, murdered and kidnapped Jews and said they would do it again. The idea that's a better Prime Minister than Boris Johnson, I think, is completely wrong. The week before that, Angela Rayner was caught on a hot tape saying that they would recognise Gaza without preconditions, without the release of the hostages, without security guarantees for Israel. The week before that, Labour unveils its 20% tax and VAT on independent schools. It's like a dagger to the heart of the community here. 35 independent schools in Barnet, 21 of them are Jewish. Week before that, David Lammy says that Benjamin Netanyahu should be prosecuted in the ICC. Week after week, in the course of this campaign, through no fault of my Labour opponents or here on the grounds, the Labour Party nationally is saying to people in this seat, we don't care about you. And by the way, I want to say, I think that my main opponents in this election, in this seat, have exactly the same values. Labour's Sarah Sackman, decent person, just happens to be, in my view, in the wrong party. Sarah Hoyle, Liberal Democrat, palpably decent person, trying to do a good thing for her community, not going to win this seat and a wasted vote, but a decent person, right? I'm not casting aspersions on the people I'm fighting this election against. I have deep policy issue differences with them, and I've got deep issues with the Labour Party when it comes to questions like anti-Semitism, but the individuals I'm running against, they're obviously decent people.
It's a blisteringly hot day, and it's noticeable that you're not in your traditional Tory candidate garb.
I'd have melted.
Shorts and flip-flops.
Yeah.
Does this make you a different kind of Tory candidate?
No, I'm a rusted-on Thatcherite small state free marketeer. I'm your classic Tory candidate. I just happen to have a pair of shorts on. I've got a pair of shorts on because it's so hot. And it is worth bearing in mind, just emphasise to people, it's not a party political point. If a canvasser comes to your door between now and the election, bear in mind they have given up their time to volunteer in the interests of democracy in what is probably going to be the hottest election campaign of all time. Don't shout at them.